Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Squawk and Seeds podcast, the podcast that has tummy problems today.
Oh, God.
It's also your favorite Pokemon podcast, his favorite Pokemon podcast. My name is Kyle Cooper Rios. I'm joined by my buddy, Mr. Poopy Bottle Champ, George Fabray.
Yeah, it's definitely embarrassing, but, thank God I live life without shame, and I don't really care. It is what it is.
George, what's up, buddy? How you feeling?
Not so well. I'm good, man. It's a normal Tuesday. Nothing too crazy. Started testing for NIC last night. We are cooking, brother. As if you watched Kyle's stream last night, you would have saw. Played some games for Sim vs. Goldengo with a Charizard build that was a little out of control. What were your thoughts on that list, Kyle?
It was certainly a list. I wish I had I wish I had more of an opinion because the games I were kind of non-competitive because I didn't get to play. But it's certainly a list. You've been so trying to find a reason to go back to your ex in Charizard EX so bad. You've been having so little fun. I think you just really like Charizard, George.
I really like Charizard. I'm just a Charizard kid. Like, if you look behind me, I just have the whole Charizard setup back there. And, I do want a reason. I have missed Charizard so much. Playing Guardy in Atlanta was scary, frightening, and unpleasant, quite frankly. Obviously, everybody knows I went 0-3 to start, and I can't do that again. So I'm just not going to play Guardy anymore. I've retired it, and now I'm back to Charizard. So, what have you been playing lately?
I haven't locked in yet to hard NAIC testing. I mean, now that I think looking at the calendar and realizing that we're about a month or so away from getting there, I probably should lock in a little bit harder. But it's been a lot of what I have been playing. I've been playing a lot of Dragapult. I've been playing a lot of Goldengo. I've been playing a lot of Goldengo with Dragapult. So, I'm very much a fan of both those archetypes. I went 3-0 at League last week with Dragapult and Dusknoir. So, felt like challenging myself with a deck that I personally felt like that wasn't like my type of deck to play. Dusknoir decks, I feel like I have to have a minor in math to figure out how to properly execute, but the deck's really good. Badoo's very good. Unfair Step is broken. And Bloodwind Ursaluna, also a really good card. So,
are you officially done with Goldengo Dunsparce?
I think the Dunsparce is a bad card. I've seen the light that I don't think that looking at where things have kind of settled down, I think I realize that drawing cards, while it's very good, it doesn't really matter if you don't have a game planned into the other stuff in front of you. So I'm probably still going to just keep playing Goldengo because it's the deck that at the skeleton is what I probably like. What variant of it I'm going to play is to be determined. There's still some testing I want to iron out, but that's probably where my head's at the moment, and I think the deck's pretty solid. And so we'll see how I feel in a week or so. Where things will go. Is Pikachu going to be a big thing? Are other annoying, or is Gardevoir going to still be good, which it probably will be. That matchup's kind of annoying, so I got to figure out what my answers to that are. But otherwise, I'm just going to keep playing a lot of stuff. I still like to go to 2 weeklies a weekend and try to play a variety of things. So yeah, we got time. We
have time. I mean, we are though officially about a month and a week away from NIC. So the testing is definitely in full force. I will be on after this with the Zucchini Boy himself. Me, him, and Juan are been cooking together. Yeah, I think we're going to try to play the same list for once. There he is. There's a Zucchini Boy, the bot himself. We're just Charizard bots, and we're going to be Charizard bots, and we're going to do it funky and in style. And I tweeted out earlier today, Kyle, a little snippet of it for people that didn't see on the stream, but we are trying to fit in Zoroark as an engine for for Charizard. And I kind of want to share the two reasons why. One reason being there's a new stadium card that we talked about a couple episodes ago with Team Rocket set, what is it, Destined Rivals coming out within, when is that coming out? In the next, month, right?
That comes out at the end of May. I think it comes out the 23rd
End of May.
officially.
Yeah,
and
so
free
just
releases
about
are
a
starting
month
for that
in.
in 2 weeks. Free releases start next week for that, so.
It happens so fast, right? But the new stadium, Rockets Tower or Watchtower or something along those lines, we're not sure what it's be called yet
The
exactly.
Rockets Watchtower?
Yeah. Shutting off all abilities from colorless Pokemon could be a kind of a problem when you think about what Charizard typically likes to do. And then there's another card out there that we are unsure that may be part of NIC's meta, and that's the new Psyduck and Golduck that may get printed. Well, the Golduck's already printed, right? And then the Psyduck might get printed.
No, neither of them are printed. They're both gym. They're both gym promos, so we don't know if
they're gym promos. Set. Gotcha. Okay, so if that's also printed, that kind of eliminates Dusknoir as well. So that's kind of our thought process around it. It's like we think dark Pokemon are going to be very good in this meta. Obviously, with Mewtwo, Rocket's Mewtwo coming out, another Psychic type, Guardia, obviously with its dominance as of late, and yeah, it's kind of what we're thinking. I don't think it's a bad thought process. I don't really know if it's actually correct yet. I don't know what you think.
It's tough to tell. I think Charizard's like one of those cards where it's always going to read good. It just depends on what the other decks in the room look like. So, when Charizard is the number one deck in the room and, everything, those that 6 months period of time where Charizard was everywhere, it's like, oh man, this deck's really good. In a room where being a darkness attacker is very strong into a field of psychic type attackers. Obviously the deck saw a lot of success then, and then stuff like Dragapult and Regidrago kind of pushed Charizard out of the meta for a little bit, and even then it's still kind of not great. In a meta where Badoo exists and a meta where Dragapult exists, where you can just kind of have your whole board wiped and you don't really get a shot to play the game. So I think Zarda's a call, like Andrew just stated in the chat right now. I think it's assumed if Dragapult shares go down, then Charizard shares go up and play as well. So.
But also, if you look at Champions League right now, a lot that's going on there. By far, the most successful and popular deck is Raging Bolt, and then we just actually saw Raging Bolt win the last regional, and I think that's a great segue, Kyle, to go into the Milwaukee Regionals. Did you watch it all?
I did, yeah. I watched a decent amount. I actually watched a fair amount of it while I was doing chores today because I was a little busy the last weekend because it was my birthday last week, so I was out.
Oh yeah, it was Koopa, Mr. Koopa's birthday.
Yeah, I turned 23 years old over the weekend. So
you went to a Yankee game, right?
I did go to a Yankee game. Shout out to George for placing a bet in my name that we almost hit on, but unfortunately,
oh man, 2 runs away to hitting it big.
Tough one, but hey, I had a great birthday nonetheless. It was a lot of fun. But thanks for all the birthday wishes, friends. Yeah, but I did watch a decent amount of Milwaukee when I wasn't out and about. Shout out to Christian Labella, one of Canada's best players. Got a pretty decent season overall. A couple of got his first place W here. Got top 8 in Toronto. Got a top 6. Just missed out on top 8 in Vancouver. Formerly one of the best Arceus players on planet Earth. Winning in finals against Makani Tran, the second best, I think, in terms of total earnings of players that played Arceus V-Star. Christian and Makani are numbers 1 and 2, which is pretty funny. So they literally had the power of God and anime on their sides. But Makani opted to play a straight Pult list, which is been seeing a higher tick in popularity. You opt to not play the Dusknoir package, instead just play a straight line of Dragapult. You play Monkey Dory in there to help move and Luminous Energy to move damage counters off your side of the board. So I don't have much of an opinion on this build of Dragapult because I haven't played much into it yet, but from what the data shows, it converts very well. It converts better than Dragapult Dusknoir. It really just speaks to how good of a card Dracloak is, just being able to draw cards and have all that built-in consistency. It's really good. But Raging Bolt coming out on top, I was definitely a little surprised by. This is a deck that everybody loves to make fun of because it's, it always has a really high meta share on day one. It usually converts like crap. And only in a couple of instances, if the field shapes up right, then you have the opportunity to, see this deck move pretty far into the bracket. So
yeah, I think it also
pretty cool. So
yeah, I think it also kind of settles the debate that has been going in our group chat with Raging Bolt. I think the baby attackers was like the big thing there. No one knew what baby attackers, and all along I said I don't think you ever needed Koraidon. I've always said Koraidon is bad. Any Koraidon card is bad. I've yet to see a good Koraidon card. But yeah, like pretty straightforward list. I don't think anything super crazy. Palpad was like the only thing that was like kind of interesting, and I think a lot of lists were playing that anyway. 4 Sadas, 2 Crispin, 1 Boss, 1 Judge. Nothing insane there. Pretty chalk list.
Yeah, this seems pretty par for the course. So I think this is kind of what Raging Bolt is. There really isn't a lot of room for tricks in this deck. And I agree. I didn't think the Koraidon was necessary. I think an argument that a lot of people use is it's when we all thought that Terror Box was going to be really good. And it's like, well, you need a way to get through Pikachu, but you need an attacker to get through Pikachu that's not Slitherwing, because then Slitherwing can get return KO'd by Teal Mask Ogerpon, and then you just kind of start getting a little too deep in the weeds there. But like you see here, a steady diet of both Baby Bolt and Slitherwing was more than enough for Christian. Looking at his bracket here, a very interesting array of matchups he had to play. Once again, shout outs to labs.limitless is the tab that I'm looking at to look this stuff up. I can send you a link in Discord if you want to keep tabs, Mr. Fabre. But yeah, a steady diet of Joltik Box, which is very interesting. A couple of Dragapult Goldengos. There's a Poison Arch in here. And a steady diet of a couple of Dragapults to have to go through in top 8 as well. So, pretty standard of the middle run here. No losses on his tab this weekend for Christian, just 2 ties to show for it. Hell of a run.
Do you see his first round opponent?
I see. You mean the one that went 0-1 drop?
Yeah, bizarre.
If you look at the list, it's even more bizarre. It's it's what I love about Limitless Labs on Limitless is that it shows you everybody's deck lists. So you and I could even look up our own deck lists from tournaments past on this, George, and see how crazy we were. But this is playing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is playing. It's a Gardevoir. It's playing a 4-0-1 line of Gardevoir EX, 4 Klefkis, a 1-2 line of Zoroark, a 1-1 line, a 1-0-1 line of Dragapult, a Squawkabilly, a Drifloon, and a Gouging Fire EX. There's a lot of nonsense going on in here.
What are we doing?
I don't know, but bro, I think bro realized what was going on here. I can't share my screen right now because then we're gonna lose all the audio because everything's set up here. But this is I'm just gonna post a link in the Twitch chat. I think you people need to see this for yourselves. This is by far one of the crazy things I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, but other than that, a pretty interesting run here. Just to kind of look over what Makani had to go through also. A little bit more variety. He had to play into a couple of Zoroark EXs proper, which also we were expecting to have a pretty big weekend, George, and we see 2 here in the top cut.
Yeah. Wait, what deck you talking about? Sorry,
I
I'm
was talking
like
about
reading
Zoroark.
something. Zorak. Oh, sorry. I just like completely zoned out there. Um, yeah, I was looking at both of these. I watched. I think both were on stream, right? Or no, Evans was on stream.
I think Evans was on stream. Yes.
Yeah. So looking at the one that finished ninth, we got a crowd favorite there. Two crowd favorites. Little Cyrano, little Bombardier EX.
Bombardier
I
EX.
don't know its name. It's just a goose. It's a silly goose,
He's
man.
he's literally a goose.
Where-
Bombini
where's-
Gusini.
yeah, I knew you were gonna throw that. I don't know what that shit is. I don't understand. But yeah, absolutely insane.
No leaks.
I think it's like a fine list, that one. And then I think the Evans list actually was a little bit better. I remember watching them on stream play. I do like the Power Glass. I do like the Six Energy, the Monkey Dory, also the Bombini Gosini, whatever the fuck you guys call it. And
Bombini Gusini.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, I like Zoroark. I think it's a cool list. And then you also had Sasha Rogue, whatever.
It's Canadian, so it's probably Rogue, maybe.
It was probably Rajay,
Rajay.
like Tarjay.
San Diego.
Yeah. That's a little more of a straightforward list. No silly goose in there, and you're trolling. Goose is kind of broken, honestly. I really enjoy this card. I gotta see if I have one of them. I gotta.
I actually,
search.
you know what? Hold on. You ramble for a second. I'm gonna grab my binder. I might actually have one. Hold on. Keep rambling.
Oh, I'm snagging that tomorrow. But let's go. I just hit a freaking bet. Let's go. Hell yeah. How much did I just win on this?
Where the heck's my trade binder? I thought I had one of my other binders around here, but I don't know where I put it. Oh wait, no, I don't know where it is. What bet did you just hit? Talk about it.
I just hit a Dodgers bet. I took Freddie Freeman for 2 total bases, RBI, and Shohei Ohtani for 2 total bases. I also took Mookie Betts, but he got scratched. So I did just win it. It probably will pay out around $300, and I'm awesome. So that's cool. Anyhow, back to Pokemon.
Yeah.
One other list that I wanted to bring up was the 6th place list by none other Ian Robb, which is familiar with his Chinese nickname apparently, with EVBox. Playing Flareon EX, 2 copies of that, 2 copies of Sylveon EX, and then the 1 copy of Terapagos EX, which is definitely the kind of like X factor in this deck, especially when you think about Cornerstone, which we've seen less and less of in the meta, but it's also just a really good attacker. But why it's so notable is if we scroll down here to the 40th place, we see the same list from our good friend of the show, Michael Breyer, apparently, that Ian Robb calls him. I don't know. I always know him as Michael B.O., but, you know, you learn something new every day. Yeah, it appears that there were 6 people playing that list in their testing group and converted 6 into day 2. So they probably had a good share of EVBox moving in, because if you see 44th place, Isaiah Chevelle is also in that testing group as well. So another kind of notable list there was the John Roberts. Is a big Magic player. He was playing a Charizard list that was very much so just kind of similar to the list that Michael actually did well with in Baltimore. But obviously after Pokestop rotated, you can no longer play all those cards. But just four Duskull, four Dusclops, two Dusknoir, four Charmander, three Charmeleon, three Charizard, two Chi-Yu, one Badoo, one Iron Bundle. Just super consistency deck, trolley build, four Iono, four Arven, two Jock. Like, just let me get all the cards I need and try to knock out my Charizard. That's basically what he did with this list. And honestly, like, I dig it, and it's kind of where a lot of our thoughts kind of like shifted to what we're testing for NIC. Another list.
Before we move on to Charizard list, I don't want to move on too quick from this. First and foremost,
you told me to yap. I just was going.
Well, I know, but that was until I got back from the seat. You're yapping. That's fine. Let me. You're making good points, but I don't want to move on the Charizard list too quickly. Two things before we move on to more lists. Number one, if you're going to refer to Mike, you have to refer to his full name, Michael Biology. Okay, his last name is not Breyer. Michelangelo Biology. Please refer to him by his full name. So.
I was unfamiliar with this game, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Number two, this Charizard list looks nuts. There's 7 fire energies in this deck, which is like seeing Charizard play that many energies after going down to 5 or like whatever you have to do to squeeze every bit of life out of this guy is nuts. But high consistency count, 4 Duskull, 4 Dusclops. You're guaranteed to get all your guys out. So really playing into the fact like, okay, if I'm gonna get Badooed, I at least have outs to get my I at least have outs to knock Badoo out and then maybe do something else with it. And also John Roberts is again big in the Magic scene, but also was big in the Pokemon scene. If I kind of peeped his Limitless page, because he even mentioned on Twitter that this is his first Pokemon event since 2018, where he also placed top 32 and made cash at that regional. So in 2018 at the Collinsville Regional Championships, for 24th place, John got $250. So he's made 3 times the amount of that money doing the same thing almost 10 years later. So
yeah, big Vikalock player, it seems like, too.
Yeah, Vikabulu, which anytime I talk to someone from this era, they talk about how bad this deck is. It's like one of the fakest good decks of all time. I don't really know. I didn't play back then, but this deck looks funny. So
Item Lock has always been broken, always will be broken, and never will not be broken. I just saw.
You're thinking of the wrong Vikavolt. I think you're thinking of the Vikavolt V. That's the item.
It's not that one.
No, this is from way back in the Sun and Moon era. I think this Vikavolt like accelerates energy. It's the strong charge Vikavolt. You can search your deck for a grass energy and a lightning energy, attach them to your Pokemon any way you want, and then you shuffle your deck. So it's an energy accelerator.
Perfect. So I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Is what you're
saying. You sounded great though. So.
Well, I wanted to say that because I wanted to transition to a tweet that I saw earlier from Chip Ritchie that I thought was very interesting. With a Dunsparce, which you said was a bad card. It's not the draw or runaway draw the Dunsparce. It's actually the Dunsparce that requires 4 energy.
Oh, is it the one that paralyzes your opponent or something like that?
Yeah, so you actually with the black and white set that's coming out that we're going to talk about later. Maybe I should save that for then. Should I save that for then?
We should save that for then. You're all over the place. You all right?
I really am. I was talking about control. I was talking about item lock, and it just kind of peaked to me. So I'll wait for that. But yeah, it is interesting what that could kind of look like in a little bit.
Yeah. If we're going to talk about some other fun lists here, I do want to bring attention to, again, a deck that I've been favoring. And again, shout-outs to... I do like the EV Box list, too, by the way. I think Ian made a tweet after he got bounced from Top Cut that the reasoning that the deck that they all landed on that deck was because of it has a really good matchup in a Dragapult, it has a really good matchup into Goldengo. And... they're opting to play the Crystal instead of the Unfair Stamp, which saw some popularity after Atlanta. Cool stuff there. The highest placing Goldengo list was at 15th place with Caleb Rogerson. I believe they're playing a 2-card difference from the Monterey list that he was playing. They cut the Genesect and the Vengeful Punch, added a second Vessel, which I really like because it at least gives you outs into to get energy out of your deck if you prize your ace spec, because Goldengo sucks if you do otherwise.
Yeah.
Let's see, another fun list I saw here was Joey. I believe it's Joey Gaeta at 25th place with Cerulege EX. Not sure if you caught this one or not, George, but this list
fake deck. Fake. I can't believe it did that well. I played a similar list like this, I think, in EUIC, and I think it's really bad into Charizard. It's bad, it's hard to really get that much energy. What do you play? 10, 4, 8?
You play 18 energies, so.
So to knock out any stage 2, you really need what? You need 10, 13, 260, 290, 15. You need 15 energy, and you play 18. So you need to get 18 out of your 15 energy in the discard pile, plus attach 1. So you really need 19 energy to knock out. Not 18. That's wrong.
You just did your math wrong.
16 out of 18 of your energy to knock out basically any big EX. That's not good. I don't know.
Well, you're looking at it from the perspective of someone that played this 2 formats ago. I don't think Cerulege was that good of a deck back then. I think it's still not that great of a deck now. I think it's kind of like a fringe deck. It's the same. It's just a different flavor of 2 prize beat stick deck. I think what I like about this list is that you at least can you can set up a single prize board state and not have to worry about Badu totally cooking you over, because you just attach a fire energy. You play enough outs to energy in your deck so that you can at least, that doesn't really scare you. You're also a deck that doesn't mind taking the odd prize because you play Briar, and getting all that energy into the discard pile is not as hard as you think it is. I've dabbled with this deck a little bit. It's a pet deck of mine. I like it. But if you play the Blender, you play Carmine, you play Squawkabilly, if you sequence this correctly, you can thin out a lot of that energy very early on in the game, so you can hit a respectable number. But again, like I said, you don't mind taking the odd prize, because if you can go 1, 2, 3 with Briar. So I think it really depends on what you hit in the meta. Also, I don't looking at what Buddy had to play here. It's a very odd variety of decks, but a couple of Goldengos. There's one Gardevoir in here. The 2 losses were to Monkey Dory Frostlass and Dragapult Dusknoir, which that matchup, I think, good luck. But I don't know. I think in the right setting, this deck has the legs to succeed, albeit just being very one-dimensional.
Yeah, I'm not believing it. He also played a Mamoswine deck, which
fascinating.
That sucks. It's bad. Let's see here. One other thing to know. Oh, well, I guess we could shout out Heggy. Finished 18th, former local, New Jersey local. I think he was just on a pretty standard list, 3 Monkey Dory. I think this is just Brett Tonnison's list, right?
I believe so. No, because Brent doesn't play Buddy Poffin in his, so I can, if it won't tell me here, it'll probably tell me in
He's playing one Buddy Poffin. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Ethan, Ian Harding, and Piper Lapine all played the same list here. So
very, very similar, though. I don't think it's that revolutionary, but no, I mean that deck is still strong.
Same, so I mean, good on Ethan. Really showing that he has the grit and consistency to still hang with the best here. Again, only if a couple more things go his way, you're probably looking at a top cut here. So.
Yeah, he's been having a good season, honestly. Yeah,
he's very, very good. So,
other than that, dude, I mean, like the Joltik box. Do you want to talk about that? I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier.
Yeah. This deck is one that's definitely shot up in popularity. It's littered all over. I think it was the second most played deck in day one. I can actually, instead of guessing, I can actually look it up right here. Yeah, it was the third highest played deck in day one. It was the second highest deck conversion-wise, with 46 players in day two. The deck's just really good, man. I think in a format where item lock is very, very solid, You can play a Pokemon that gets Pokemon out of your deck, and you can play a Pokemon that accelerates energy into the field that your opponent just can't simply ignore. You have a multi-prize attacking threat in Iron Hands, and a Pokemon that can blow virtually anything up with Pikachu. I do like some of the small differences that you see in this third place list from Alex Chandler. They're opting to play Officer Genesect, who is one of the biggest grief cards in the format right now. Makes sense, being able to turn off your opponent's access to Ace-Specs, solid stuff. I think this deck also
the Goldengo killer, really.
I mean, lots of other decks play their cards play their Ace-Specs from their hand. Like Guardy can't access Secret Box. You can't get Prime Catcher. But
it's really good against. But it's really good against Goldengo.
Well, yeah, of course, it's really good against Goldengo because then you're just cooked.
Yeah, you just can't play the game. That also, kind of where I wanted to transition though into Kyle. We saw Raging Bolt win this thing, right? We see Guardy still dominating. We see Joltik Box really popping up here. All have a really bad matchup into what?
I don't know.
Charizard. And that's kind of, to go back to it, I think that's why John Roberts did as well as he did. I think Charizard is kind of hard to deal with. And I was thinking about this, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. If you play Charizard similar to how you play Guardy right now, obviously without the one prizers, but Charizard having 330 HP is not really that easy to knock out. And if you do, you can really just build up a new one. To me, right now, I feel like Charizard, I think in Portland, you'll see an uptick on it already, just because of how much Joltik Box came through. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be back on the radar before NAIC, or do you think it's still far away?
It's tough to say because yes, Joltik Box is really good, but also Dragapult is still really good. So I don't know if you're going to see the Joltik Box in the numbers that's going to warrant people to pick up playing Charizard, because I still think Dragapult's going to convert well. I don't know, because maybe if anything, Raging Bolt ticks up in play here. Because of that. Again, this deck is just so.
It's also good against. It's also good against Raging Bolt. That's my thing, though. So I do want to kind of talk a little bit more about NIC, but I think also we're so far away, and there's so much testing to be done that a later episode would be good. But I kind of just want to get your thoughts because you're going, I'm going. Are you pretty much set on practicing Goldengo as much as you want to be ready for that, or are you going to consider something else?
I know the types of decks that I like to play. So Goldengo's a deck that obviously, whenever it comes to going to tournaments, I usually try to lean on what I'm most comfortable with at the time. Whether it's in my best judgment not to do so, that's what I don't, or it's whatever I'm playing the most. I don't want to pivot from playing a deck for a month and then a week before the tournament pivot and play something else, because I don't think I'm that type of guy where I can just get a deck, the list beforehand, a week beforehand, play it for a week, and then feel confident in all of my matchups to be able to succeed at the regional moving forward. So in terms of the long and short of it is I'll play other stuff for the sake of just testing it, but in my heart I know in some capacity Goldengo is probably what I'm going to want to play, because it's a deck that I have the most reps with. It's a deck I know most of my matchups going into, and it's a deck that is proven to be very, very good right now. So again, it all really depends on, where Dragapult falls on the pecking order here. I think if Dragapult, falls in play, then stuff like Charizard becomes a little bit better of a choice. But again, it's really hard to tell right now because we're so far away. And, do you think you're going to hit the matchups you want as Charizard? Because, are you going to be able to play under item lock, or are you going to be able to play around Dragapult being able to destroy your board? I don't know, but for me personally, I think I know what the type of decks I like to play, so I'll, against my better judgment, bit more or less, I'll still probably just end up playing Goldengo.
So before we go into the new set that's kind of got leaked already and being shown, What do you think for Portland will be, one, the most favored deck played, and two, what do you think will be the most successful deck converting into day two, and maybe the winner if you had to pick?
Tough to tell, but I mean the data shows that Dragapult's going to continue to be the best played deck in the room. 16% in day one of Milwaukee, 18% in day two. So I think that deck is still going to be the one with the most on its table to do well. Obviously, Gardevoir, very, very popular. I don't see that changing either. I think if anything, you're going to see some variation in that third place area. Does the Joltik box go up and play enough to where people, where it still stays in that third place clip? It had the day one advantage over Goldengo and a day two advantage over Gardevoir. So I don't know. I think Gardevoir and Dragapult are proven to be high skill ceiling dealing decks. Everyone at the top tables are going to be playing those. With that third spot, obviously, Goldengo and Joltik box, I guess, depending on what you expect to see more of. So
you don't think there will be any other deck that comes out here, maybe a EV box, something like that will actually take a victory here?
I don't. It's tough to tell because it's tough with. Are you talking about like currently, or are you talking about when Destined Rivals comes out?
I'm talking about before Destined Rivals, before NAIC, like in this kind of current format.
I mean, I think those decks convert. I think those decks convert well. The problem is they just have like glaring flaws and other stuff. Like Goldengo, Dragapult, and Gardevoir. They're all decks that prove it's like, okay, there's lines of play that each of these decks can take. Any of these decks can win a regional on a given day. But then you have like the next tier of stuff like Joltik box, which has very clear problems. That deck just kind of runs out of gas sometimes. You have stuff like Raging Bolt, which again converts very well, but with Clefairy everywhere, if you run into a decent enough pathway of Gardevoir, you might run into some problems. And Zoroark is another deck that's obviously very popular. I thought it was a good choice going into Milwaukee, and other people thought the same as well. But again, that's also a deck that has power level problems. If you don't hit the right matchups, you're not going to see as much success. So I definitely think there's a lot of stuff that can convert well. I think there's just there's a lot of those other decks just have very glaring flaws that I think hold them back more than others.
That was the one deck that I was curious if you were going to bring up, because I think in Zoroark, I think it actually is a lot better than what people thinking right now. And in a meta where Gardevoir is good, and it's actually not a bad matchup into Dragapult, it's really got a bad matchup into Raging Bolt. So if Raging Bolt continues to do well and people are teching for Raging Bolt, it will definitely fall off in Portland. I can see a world where it's just another Guardy victory, quite frankly, in Portland.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to be curious to see where people's like minds are going. It's also going to be tough because like Portland's an end of the format tournament, so like by that point, like there isn't really any room for tricks. Everybody's trying to, I guess, lock in for those last few points before the World's Invite. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for. It's going to be tough to see like if there's any room for creativity there. I just think it's a lot of chalk stuff right now. So
yeah, I agree. All right, so you want to go ahead and move into these new cards, brother? I'll let you take it away there.
Yeah, so over the weekend, they revealed some of the cards coming out for the next set coming out after Destined Rivals, which was in Japan, amply named Black Bolt and White Flare, which nobody really knew what that meant. And then it turns out, through some Japanese reveals, it's going to be a Unova set based strictly with Pokemon from the Unova region from the Black and White era. And then the next day, today actually, this got officially revealed as our next English set in July. So this will be the set that comes out right before Worlds. There's usually a special set that comes out right before Worlds, so this doesn't surprise me. And so this will be coming out on July 18th in America. And a couple of interesting things here is that, number one, the product is split into two. So Black Bolt and White Flare are both their own separate entities. They're not combined into one set like the Japanese sets usually are. And every single card in this set is going to have an illustration rare, which is crazy. So there's already like 100, and I think there's there's 170 cards, 65 illustration rares, and 5 special illustration rares. There's gonna be a shit ton of cards in this set. So good luck if you're going to Worlds trying to get your hands on this stuff. Hopefully it's just like a cosmetic thing, where like only certain cards are gonna be, hopefully you don't have to get like both sets to get certain cards. You can just buy one, like a Pokemon game. But pretty interesting stuff here off the rip. The energies, the cards look really cool because it's kind of like a homage back to the black and white style of energies, where it has that like cross stitch pattern. I don't know, George. You have any opening thoughts on just like the aesthetics of what we're looking at here before we dive into some of the cards I showed?
I don't really care how cards look or care about secret arts or full arts or whatever the hell arts. I'm just disappointed that they really only gave us 2 English translations right away, with the Thunderous and the what's the other one? The
Landorus.
Landorus. Tornadus. Tornadus, the other one.
Well,
right?
Actually, I just sent you a link to the Pokebeach article that showed the English translations for some of the cards so far. So.
Oh, fun! That's what I care about. Okay, so. Superior EX ability, Royal Cheer, attacks used by your opponent attacks used by your Pokemon do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's not really that great. For grass, triple colorless grass order, 150 damage. You may search your deck up to 3 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So effectively it's doing 170 because of the Royal Cheer, and I guess that does stack. So if you're doing 170, you are knocking out big dark Pokemon, and then grabbing 3 cards might be relevant.
On a stage 2, this is kind of rough though, so
I don't think it's that rough. I mean, 170, and then like the ability stacks, and then you have stuff like Monkey Dory, Max Belt. You have other stuff in the format to use modifiers there, Defiance Band. I don't think it's like that bad. I think the fact that you can search your deck for 3 cards is actually pretty good. The Reshiram EX, double colors, 50 damage. That's garbage. Fire, colorless, Blaze Burst is 130 damage. Attack does 50 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So down to 1 prize left. This is going to be doing 380 damage. That's pretty good. And you only discard 1 energy.
Yep, not bad for a single prize attacker, but this works conjunction in great with the card you just scrolled over here, which is a reprint of one of the best engine cards of all time, the Embor with Inferno Fandango. Anyone that played back then talks very passionately about the Embor from the original black and white base set that had the same ability. So, as it reads, as often as you like during your turn, you can attach a fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So, fire energy acceleration. Curious if we're going to get any better attackers with this. But the Reshiram doesn't seem like a bad target on this. You throw a Bravery Charm on it, so it doesn't get 1 hit knocked out. Could be a pretty decent endgame attacker. But very clearly looks like it's meant to be played in conjunction. You can kind of look at these fire type Pokemon with like a little bit more like a little bit more seriously, because you have something like the Embor coming down the pipeline. So Pokemon that had high attack costs in the past, that kind of lost a step with Magna Basin being gone, could be a factor here. I think people really like this Embor card. I think people are gonna find a way to make this work, depending on what else comes out in the set. And the Reshiram's is not a bad place for that to start.
Yeah, I think whenever you can accelerate energy, it's really, really great. Stage 2, though, a little tough, right? But I agree. I think it's going to be played. It's going to be a thing, especially with Destined Rivals coming out with the Ethan's Ho-Oh. You could get a lot of fire into the fields with both of those cards. Another stage 2 starter, the Samurott, 160 HP. ability, Strong Currents. Once during your turn, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. And if you do, your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their benched Pokemon. So it's Guzma on your bench all day, every day. That's kind of busted, Kyle.
It's pretty sick. Again, it's just tough that this is on a stage 2. So you're going to have to jump through extra steps to kind of get those guys set up. But if you can, depending on where things are at the point of the game where this stuff comes out, maybe that'll be a factor. Interesting card. There's been a couple Pokemon I had that there's been a couple Pokemon that had that ability where it's like a gust effect, but this is the first one that has this a Guzma effect. So it's cool. I'm into it. Let's move on to our buddy Kirim here, though.
Well, real quick, I could see it working in a kind of Chen Pao-esque deck with playing rare candies with Baxcalibur, and then a kind of wall aspect with maybe a Mimikyu or Frigoraph or Milotic, something like that, because then you're just always switching in and out. So don't write it off yet. This could be a big addition for walls.
Don't give me hope. Chen Pao's dead, so
I don't know. It may not be. But go ahead to your next one here.
Kirim EX, basic water. It's a. Am I reading that correctly? No, it's okay. It's mistranslated. 230 HP basic Pokemon for double colors. You do Slash for 50 damage. And then for water colorless, you do Blizzard Burst, 130. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize card your opponent's taken. So that's, I don't know if that's mistranslated or not, but again, another ability that stacks depending on how many prize cards your opponent's taken. I just think there's other cards that do this better. I think even the Kyurem does this better, or the Fire Kyurem does this better personally. So,
I don't know. It's interesting, right? 130 to the active. If they've taken 5 prizes, moving 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon with Monkey Dory in the format. It's tough. I don't know how good it would be.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Just off rip, I'm just not very impressed by how this card reads. Let's check out the Zekrom, and then there's actually another article of they've been dropping Pokemon for this every day, and I completely missed these. So let's read the Zekrom, and then we can read the interesting cards. The more interesting cards, in my opinion, on the second screen here. So,
okay, the Zekrom, it's basically just a Reshiram.
I think it's just the same thing. Yeah,
Lightning version Reshiram. Probably going to be really good in Miraidon.
Or
that's my take.
With another fun Pokemon that comes out, because they've been dropping again. They've been doing small reveals for this set. I think every day in Japan because there's that many cards that have to come out. So a couple more cards came out over the weekend, and which, in my opinion, which is really interesting here, is we have the reprint of Dynamotor's coming back, George, in the form of Electric. Which is this is literally word for word how the Electric back in the black and white era read. Same ability, same attack cost. Really interesting stuff here. So obviously, it has a Dynamotor ability. Once during your turn, you can add your basic lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. Just in time for Worlds, George. Miraidon's back. We have Dynamotor back.
Yeah, I saw a tweet earlier today from Jesse Parker, and I think now local New Jersey local JW Crewall. There's imagine playing Worlds, playing Miraidon to 3 Worlds in a row, and I 100% see that happening. Dynamotor is what's been missing in Miraidon and why it kind of fell off once Flaffy rotated. When Evolving Skies rotated, Dynamotor, really, really good ability. Here comes back the 18 energy Miraidon decks. We can't wait for it.
We're so back, bro. We're so back. This is really cool. So I'm excited to see how other decks incorporate this. Obviously, that Zekrom is not a bad attacker either. So I don't know, man. Lightning just keeps they just keep wanting Lightning Pokemon to be cool. And really scrolling down a little bit here, something I do find interesting. They made a note to show that Energy Retrieval is getting a reprint in this set with a new regulation mark. So which means that this card's not going to rotate out when rotation happens again next year. So Energy Retrieval is still going to be around for a few more years, which is interesting.
Does that have a rotation? Oh, I thought it had. That's uncommon, dude. I thought it was rotation block U, and I'm like, how are we printing cards for U? What is going on? It's I. Okay, never mind.
It's I. But also coming back is Air Balloon. Air Balloon's getting a reprint in this set. The retreat cost of the Pokemon this card is attached to is 2 colorless energies left. I am so happy to see this card come back in a format where Arven is a thing and you can search this guy out. Do you know how big this is for so many decks, George? It's huge.
Huge. And I saw on TCG Player it already went up to about $9 for the gold version. I have ones somewhere over here.
I hope I didn't get rid of my old ones. I think they might be in a bulk box somewhere. I don't think I've donated them yet, but no, this is a huge card for this to exist again in the same time in the same format as Arven. So this is going to be able to be splashed into so many decks. If you think of all the good stage 2 Pokemon or like the bulky stage 1 Pokemon that have 2 retreat costs. So you look at Pokemon like Zoroark that have 2 retreat costs. That Goldengo, this is a huge card for, because now your Goldengos can't get Counter Catcher stalled and the active without energies on them. This opens up possibilities for so many decks. I love a card like this.
There's so much room for activities.
Yeah, I agree. We're getting a Professor's Research, still with the G regulation mark. So there's still the talk that this card probably is going to rotate next year. So that's going to be interesting.
They can't do it. They can't rotate that. It's what Pokemon
I don't know,
TCG
man.
is.
I don't know.
It's just what Pokemon TCG is. There's no way. There's no way. I will. That will be the end of George Fabray playing Pokemon TCG.
You say that now. They'll print something else that'll do the same thing.
No, you can't get rid of it. It's what the game is. It's just like there always has to be a Gus, and there always has to be that.
Well, there's still plenty of Gust in the format. I think discard. I don't think there's going to be any lack of. They'll probably just reprint another Pokemon Professor and just make it a singleton name or whatever.
Professor Oak and Gust of Winds are staples in Pokemon. It just has to be. Has to be. All right, let's talk about some of these special energies. You
don't want to talk about Hilda or Charon? Nothing there?
No, they're absolutely disgusting, and I hate them. Sharon's just hot,
draw, right? Heron's or Nimona, just a generic draw 3. The Hilda's kind of cool though.
Hilda's all right. Search out an evolution and 1 energy card, but I think Jock is just better, right? Sereno is just better.
I think even Chorus's Tenacity is better, personally.
Chorus Tenacity is just better. Like, there's just so many better cards. Ultra Ball's still in there, so to play Ultra Ball plus Chorus is just better. But the cards that I do think are relevant are these special energies that you have been talking about a lot lately. Well, not lately, but you're like, I can't wait for Lugia to rotate, even though you love it, because now they can start printing cool energies again. Because in that format, it was just broken if they did. But Prism Energy. Thank God we're finally getting this back. We've been waiting for this card. If this Pokemon is attached to a basic Pokemon, which it does have little handcuffs on it, it provides every type of energy, but only 1 energy at a time. I think it's really good for the basic Terras. I think it's going to be, like, for Pikachu, it's really good. I guess... I'm trying to think of other basic Terras that have like those crazy attacks. Can't really think. Oh, well, I guess Terapagos too for its second attack. That's really good as well. I can't really think of anything else right now that it's really good for.
Well, I mean, I think this is a good card to have in general. I think this is, again, a Rainbow Energy that's not too broken. Also, if you played back in the Black and White era, this is the same Prism Energy card from the next Destiny set from way back in the day. So another reprint that I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see here. Again, just a good Rainbow Energy to have that's not like super handcuffed the way that like Luminous Energy is. You still have to play this on basic Pokemon, but again, there's a lot of good basic attacking Pokemon that can definitely make use of this. I think what the most exciting thing here is
the ogre ponds too. Ogre ponds.
Yes, that's not bad. It's not. You're not going to be able to you won't be able to teal. I don't know. Can you teal dance with this? No, it has to be attached from a Pokemon.
No,
attach your Pokemon first.
Yeah, it's also basic grass for teal dance.
Yeah.
But for Cornerstone and for water pond, yeah,
it's not bad.
Good.
It's a good card. This card saw a lot of play back in its heyday, so I'm not surprised to see it. I'm excited to see a card like this come back. And then we have Ignition Energy, which is a pseudo reprint of Triple Acceleration Energy from way back when. If this card's attached to one of your Pokemon, it provides one colorless energy while attached to a Pokemon, but if it's an evolution Pokemon, it provides 3. And akin to how old special energy used to be way back in the day, you have to discard it at the end of your turn, which is, I think, great. I think a card like this that would stick around for too long is too broken.
Right.
This is really good. I just think a really good card.
So I hinted at this earlier, right? With that the Dunsparce that has the 4 attack that you have to shuffle everything back into your hand. This is great. Or back into your deck, sorry. This is great because at the end of your turn, you got to discard the Ignition Energy. But now, with the Dunsparce, you attack for 130. You can attach Counter Gain on there. Right, and I can now put my Ignition Energy back into my deck. Oh, and you know what? Also, the Dunsparce does, it paralyzes your Pokemon.
Yep.
So I could paralyze your Pokemon, and then I was talking about that tweet earlier, which is where I saw that Chip Ritchie tweeted out the fact that you can now go into a card that we were talking about item lock, and it's the Tyranitar from this past set that came out, that when it's in the active, you can't play any item cards. It's going to be a crazy control aspect to the deck. I think the only problem that it might see that deck is you might actually start knocking out Pokemon, which you don't ever want to do. But if you could get behind and play a high counter catcher and then keep attaching Ignition Energy counter catcher, finding it every turn, it's going to be a problem. Paralyzing and item lock is going to be a huge problem and, quite frankly, extremely annoying.
Yeah, I'm into it. I think this card's really cool. This just opens up so many opportunities for deck building. Again, I kind of scoffed at that Superior card earlier, but it's very, you can, as in theory, maybe power this thing up in one turn. You Ogre Pond Energy Switch, attack the Ignition Energy, and then you're doing, 170 off the rip. So it's cool. I think again, I've been talking about it for the heavens forever. They're gonna start printing good special energy again. Now that Lugia can't break the game with it. I don't know. I think it's very clear that they're trying to tap into cards from the black and white era, which leaves. And again, every Unova Pokemon is getting a card in this set, which is very promising. But I think if I'm reading through the tea leaves here, George, they reprinted, the Emboar from way back in the day. We're getting Prism Energy back. I think Garbotoxin's coming. I think Garbodor with Garbotoxin's coming back.
They want an item lock meta. I don't know why. They're pushing it so much. They want us to all not have fun, apparently. What do you think about these new kind of texture cards on some of these secret rares, the reprinting like the Black Kyurem and the White Reshiram? Think they're cool? Do you care about them? You already know my thoughts. I don't give a shit about them, but I'm curious what your take is.
I kind of hate the way that they look. They're kind of eyesores. They kind of remind me a lot of the secret rare VMAXs that are black on the back end, which is I just kind of think it takes a lot of the detail out of the cards, which I really don't care for. I like the art cards, but I like looking at the art that's on them. But if I read correctly, I think this set's gonna have everyone's gonna have an art rare, plus these cards are gonna exist. I think there's gonna be Pokeball and Master Ball rarities in this set also. If I read somewhere. I don't know how true that is, but there's gonna be a bajillion types of rarities of these cards, so it's gonna be impossible to try to get anything. I'm more excited about the
Zekrom. I think the Zekrom looks cool, if I'm being honest. The Victini looks like absolute dog shit.
I don't like it. The Victini looks awful. All black looks kind of hard though. I'll give it up. I think it's cool that they're reprinting.
Wait, what?
It looks hard. It looks cool.
You said all black. Okay, all right.
Yes, you know what I know. What I said.
Sure.
I do think that the pseudo reprinting of the black and white energy looks cool, though. I think in terms of your mileage might vary how people feel about how these energy cards look, but I kind of dig them. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what else comes down the pipeline here. So.
Yeah, I'm not buying any of this unless I need the cards. But what else is new?
This is going to be in a format we're not going to play anyway because this is going to be the World's format. So,
oh yeah,
I guess locally we'll be playing this, but you know what I mean. We don't have to sweat too hard for this one.
Hopefully we'll be in somewhere very nice and exotic and beautiful women around me. Hopefully.
All right, we're about an hour and change into the podcast, Mr. Fabre. Do you want to do the Squawk and Seas still? So.
Yeah. Wow. How's it 9 o'clock? Sheesh.
Yeah, we did get a little bit of a late start, but shout out to everyone for sticking with us tonight. We'll make this one a quick one. A fun topic of conversation the past week has been 100 men versus a gorilla. So I thought it'd be fun to pitch to the council our choices for who we would try to send in versus a gorilla. George, are you ready for this?
Yeah, so you want to do 3 and 3 to keep it kind of short?
Yeah, we'll do 3 and 3 each.
And what I want to see from the chat, too, is like some people chime in here, and I want to squawk maybe 1 or 2 from the chat as well. So I'll start off, and I will give you one because he came out and said that he would take on 100 gorillas. One man versus 100 gorillas, he said he could have. That is not only former UFC whatever champion, but also Irish pride, Conor McGregor.
You know what, man? I'll squawk it. Conor McGregor is kind of sick in the head, so I think he believes he can do it. I think he will fail miserably. I mean, after watching Conor McGregor, what did he do? He punched a guy's tour bus or something like that. Is that what happened like all those years ago?
I don't know. He's absolutely insane.
Yeah, but he's a psychomaniac.
I think he is sick in the head enough to actually probably pull it off. He would probably almost die doing it, but I think he would take it further than a lot of human beings. So I'm with you. I would squawk Conor McGregor doing it.
All right, I've been kind of looking at this has been such a hard topic to Google because I tried looking up a skeleton list of what other opinion people think about this. I'm gonna go with who I would take in any stretch of the imagination. Let me just pull up the acolytes here because I had one very clear choice here. A 4-time NBA champion, a 4-time NBA Finals MVP, 4-time most valuable player. Squawkers use LeBron James against a gorilla. Prime LeBron James. Let's talk prime LeBron James.
I think he's soft though. He's a flopper. I think if the gorilla hit him once, he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna flop, and he's gonna play dead." I'm gonna seize LeBron. I don't think he's got the heart to do it, quite frankly.
I don't know, man. I feel like a prime LeBron James, Miami Heat LeBron James, maybe. I don't know.
So I'm going to give you another athlete here that I think has a way better chance. Not as big as LeBron, but a big man in himself. I don't know if he actually murdered somebody or not. It's one of the craziest stories. I don't know if it actually happened or not, but former middle linebacker, former Super Bowl MVP himself, I believe as well, Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I buy it. I think Ray Lewis, 1,000%. You could tell me Ray Lewis could fight a gorilla. You could tell me that now. I'd probably believe you.
I think he could still probably do it. That guy, I don't think there's many other sick individuals in the world. He is, that guy has way too many screws loose.
Yeah, a lot of CTE going on there.
A lot of CTE.
All right, I'm going to go in the realm of action movie stars. Again, another person that immediately came to mind here of who I think could very easily pull this off. Let me think about it here. All right, are we squawking or seizing the notion that Vin Diesel could take down a gorilla? Mr. Dominic Toretto.
Vin Diesel. I mean, doesn't he have like a big beer belly now?
I don't know, man. You're just gonna tell me Dom Toretto can't take? If family's on the line, he's not gonna take down a gorilla.
So is it Vin Diesel or Dom Toretto?
I mean, Dominic Toretto's not a real person. I'm taking Vin Diesel. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Vin Diesel, the actor, could do it, but the character Dom Toretto, I would squawk that.
Okay, so let's go with that. Let's submit Dom Toretto as a man here.
Yeah, I'm definitely squawking that. So wait, when we say men, like, are they have to be mortal, obviously, right?
See, I don't know what the parameters are here. This is still very fresh to me. So, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to take an interpretation here.
I mean, Squawk and Dom, like, listen, one, he'll probably run him over in his car. So you got that going. And then two, if he's going after his family, dude, that guy, there's nothing stopping him. It's just not. I said, forget it, cut. No, I know that's not him, but, it's Fast and Furious. I just love that line. I said, forget about it, cut. All right, let me give you a fun one, too. I gave you, like, two, like, pretty obvious ones. Let me give you one that's, like, a little bit on the border here. I want to go with a movie character as well. What about... So, like, you know what I'm thinking? Because, like, I keep wanting to say Deadpool, but, like, I think that's, like, that's not fair. You can't say Deadpool.
You can't just say Superman, so...
So, but in that sense, I would say then, because he is a regular person, and it's not Marvel, but it's DC, would Batman take down a gorilla? He is a human.
He is a human, but Batman famously does not kill, so it's tough, man.
Ooh.
Isn't one of Batman's bad guys also a gorilla? Am I forgetting? I might be thinking of Superman. I think there's a Superman villain that's like literally a gorilla. I don't know, man. I've seen Batman get his back broken by just oversized men too many times that I'm a little nervous for my guy. So
maybe not Batman, maybe just Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, the billionaire, philanthropist, playboy, or whatever he is.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne by himself, I'll seize. Batman, I'll give half a squawk because I think Batman with prep time is a hard one to ignore.
With all his tools, with all his utilities. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. But also, he just fights, too. So Bruce Wayne can definitely fight.
That's true. That's tough, man.
That's a tough one, right?
He does have trauma. His parents are dead, so, he's got nothing to lose. A little crazy there. I don't know. I'll squawk it. I'll squawk it.
No, I think the C's was correct. I think a gorilla would get... Gorillas are also gigantic. I think forgetting how big gorillas are.
Gorillas are huge.
Yeah.
All right, last one for me. Let's see here. All right, Squawker sees Tord Reklev being able to take down a gorilla. So.
Tord is getting his ass kicked, bro. Tord is so fucked. I mean, it's like me or you going. We're so fucked.
No faith in the goat.
Dude, can you imagine just seeing Tord Reklev fucking lined up against him, just hey. Oh,
how about Brad?
Right.
Andrew suggested Brad.
That's what I wanted. I wanted some chat to chime in here. All right, so I'm going to seize Brad Brown. I'm sorry, Brad is yacked, but I think Brad is fucked in that as well. I'm seizing Brad Brown.
That's my goat though, man. I don't know. That stinks. I understand it. I'll probably seize Brad too. It's tough. I don't want to. Yeah. I don't feel good about it. You and Brad? That's hold on. Now we're getting somewhere.
I think the chances just got worse if it adds you, Andrew. I don't think that's adding any value there whatsoever. Brad. Okay, bro. Okay, bro. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
All right, that's it for this week's edition of Squawker Seas. We'll get more feelers from the people when we put this episode up this Friday. But I don't know, fun topic of conversation at the dinner at the dinner table this week. Also, like, because I also come from the realm of like where people talk about like every single Pokemon versus a billion lions, and it's basically just like another flavor of that. So
Yeah, I mean, I think any Pokemon have abilities and shit. Like imagine like a bunch of Alakazams. They just lift them all up in the air, and Mewtwo just like would destroy them. Yeah, any psychic Pokemon they wouldn't even be close. Even a Rhydon. A Rhydon is doing some work against
tough one, to say the least. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this edition of Squawk or Seas. Thank you guys for engaging in this social experiment. Pretty jam-packed episode this week, George. Got a lot covered, got a lot more coming up. Again, by the time this episode comes out next week, we'll have pre-releases to talk about at some point. So
yeah, pre-release, and that's just going to lead into more NIC talks. So that being said, lead us out there, Kyle.
Yeah, you guys can follow the channel at Koopa NJ. Feel free to drop a sub if you feel so inclined. Anything helps the channel. And of course, we stream here every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. If you guys are ever want to check out my ramblings, I do Mondays and Thursdays by myself. Tuesdays are the podcast days with George. Check me out at Koopa NJ across platforms everywhere. You know where to find me. George, where can the folks find you?
On X platform, I have been tweeting up a storm, baby girl.
Baby girl.
Pony Bottle Champ, PNYBTL Champ, @ at the front. You can see my nonsense there, and I will be posting a lot of weird lists. So comment and follow me over there on the X platform.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in this week, folks. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys next time for more Pokemon action. Good night, everybody.
See ya.